Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Marieta, founder of ImmigrationBiz. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification button so you guys are notified every time I release new content. And let's get started. Today I want to talk about the possible new executive order that Trump is considering to issue, and he's targeting birthright citizenship. He wants to end the birthright citizenship. I was actually reviewing one of his old videos where he actually said that United States is the only country in the world that is offering birthright citizenship at this point, and therefore we see the birth tourism. Some of these people are coming to United States just to give birth because their baby will obtain US citizenship right away. And I want to say that is not true, because look at these countries here. These are all the countries that actually give the birthright citizenship and offer citizenship by birth automatically. So, for example, Canada is giving citizenship by birth. And then you can see other countries. All these countries in pink are actually offering this option. So we have 30 countries that are actually offering birthright citizenship. And then you have countries that are actually offering citizenship based on citizenship of your parents. So you can only get a citizenship if your parent has, for example, US citizenship, or for example, in US, based on this new executive order, it would look like you would have to show that you have a citizenship or you're a resident of the country if you want to get the citizenship for your baby. Now, I want to talk about the 14th Amendment because this is where it gets tricky. The administration is actually aware that this would cause challenges because you cannot really override the 14th Amendment, and you cannot act like you the lawmaker. Now I'm talking about the intention to cancel the birthright citizenship, but just executive order. So I actually want to read to you guys. Here it is. What is 14th Amendment talking about? The 14th Amendment states that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. So this means that if your baby is born in the United States, is becoming subject to the jurisdiction thereof, and as a result is becoming a citizen of the United States. Now, the question is whether by executive order he can change that. In my opinion, he cannot, but then there are sources and lawyers that are claiming that he can, because, for example, the issue is that the citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment have been incorrectly enforced in violation of their terms. And by the way, the Section 301 of Immigration Naturalization Act is talking about the same language that is the 14th Amendment. So is it really incorrectly enforced? And the reason they are saying it's because when your baby is born in the United States and you are subject to jurisdiction of different country, then in that case your baby is automatically subject to the same jurisdiction and therefore is not actually within the clause, because as we revisit the 14th Amendment here, we can see that it's applicable only if you are not under any jurisdiction. And again, this is questionable, because just because you are subject to different jurisdiction, because if you actually reside in a different country or if you have a citizenship of different country, you are subject to that jurisdiction in different country. The question comes whether if you are in the United States legally or illegally, whether you are subject to jurisdiction of that particular country, right? That's the issue here. Because of that, they're talking about that the citizenship clause isn't really implemented correctly, and as a result, President Trump could potentially issue executive order. So here it is. It seems rather obvious that children born to aliens who are in this country, either legally or illegally, are citizens of the native countries of their parents. Now, this sentence here, for example, is not necessarily true, because when the child is born, the child can opt in and choose citizenship based on A, country where the person is born, B, country of one of the parents, or it can obtain citizenship of both parents. And so this is questionable right there, because just because you are born in one country to your parent doesn't mean you are automatically getting the citizenship of your parent. Those children owe political allegiance to their parents' native countries and thus are not within the political jurisdiction of the US. And again, this is not necessarily true, because each country is different. So each law in different countries it's different. So you have to understand and take that also into consideration, that just because you are born to parent who, for example, is a citizen of Mexico, doesn't necessarily mean that you own the political allegiance to Mexico, just because you are a child born in the United States to Mexican parent and who is under a jurisdiction of Mexico. Let's suppose that you are in US as a tourist, right, and you have a different citizenship, then again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you owe the political allegiance to that particular country of your parent. Here we go. If a child is born in France to a married couple who are both American citizen, the child is American citizen and thus subject to the jurisdiction of the US. Again, like, this is not necessarily true. Just because you're born to that parent who is subject to the jurisdiction doesn't mean that you are subject to that jurisdiction. You can be if you decide to follow the same citizenship. But what if you decide to follow the citizenship based on the country you are born in, which is, and it would be in this case, because US is still offering birthright citizenship. Now, the fact that any alien in the US is subject to or territorial jurisdiction and can therefore be prosecuted for breaking the laws does not make them subject to the complete political jurisdiction of the US. That's true. They owe no allegiance to the US government and can be drafted into the military, true. Can be forced to serve on jury, true. That's all true. Now, the issue is not just what jurisdiction was understood to mean in 1868. This is when the 14th Amendment was adopted, but what it meant in 1952 when statute defining the US citizenship was enacted. This is true, actually. So, in fact, the legislative history of Immigration Naturalization Act does not reflect that Congress had different understanding of the jurisdiction in 1952. There is almost no discussion of this provision in the congressional record. One of the only lengthy discussion is by Joseph Ryder Farrington, who was the territory of Hawaii's delegate in the House of Representatives. He complained about the restrictive immigration measures at the time that didn't allow permanent resident aliens from Asian countries who were the parents of citizens born in Hawaii to apply for citizenship. Okay, so guys, as we can see, it's a bit messy here, right? So how is it gonna look like if President Trump issues the executive order? Well, chances are that this is going to be challenged, and most likely it will be. And that's one thing. Another thing is, I was talking about the upcoming immigration policy of President-elect Biden, and his agenda within the first 100 days is to actually rescind all the proclamations and executive orders issued by President Trump when it comes to immigration. And so if he can rescind the executive order in such manner, then chances are that he can do the same with this particular executive order. Because as we know, the Trump administration, even though they are reviving the discussion about this new executive order that is targeting birthright citizenship, it is in their final weeks before they are leaving the office, right? So Again, if this is in place, it's probably going to stay for some time, month or 2 or 3, we'll see. But it's not definitely at this point straightforward, and in my opinion, it will be challenged, and there is no way that the executive order can override the 14th Amendment and change the law just by issuing executive order. So guys, if you want to learn more about the future of US immigration, you guys welcome. You're welcome to visit my other videos. I'm going to be attaching them here for you. And if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that bell notification button, and stay tuned for upcoming videos.